It was a cold morning in West Des Moines, Iowa. The date was September 5th, 1982. The sun hadn't yet risen, and most of the neighborhood was still asleep. But for 12-year-old Johnny Gosch, the day had already begun. Like he did every Sunday, he woke up before dawn to deliver the Des Moines Register newspapers. He packed his wagon, called for his dog, and headed out into the quiet streets. He never came back. By 7 a.m., neighbors started calling Johnny's parents, asking why their papers hadn't been delivered. His father, John Gosch, went looking for him, following the familiar paper route through their neighborhood. He found Johnny's wagon, filled with neatly stacked newspapers, abandoned on the corner of 42nd Street and Ashworth Road. Johnny was gone. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence left behind. Witnesses said they saw Johnny talking to a man in a blue car, asking for directions. Another witness, a paperboy named Mike, claimed the man pulled up again, this time accompanied by someone else. The car drove off. Minutes later, Johnny vanished. When police were called, they initially treated it as a runaway case. But his parents, John and Noreen Gosch, insisted that wasn't possible. Johnny was responsible, cautious, and never went anywhere without permission. Within hours, the neighborhood was filled with volunteers searching fields, rivers, and wooded areas. Nothing.
No footprints, no clues, no Johnny.
Days turned into weeks. His photo appeared on posters, milk cartons, and national television. He was one of the first missing children in America to appear on milk cartons, part of a new campaign to raise awareness. But despite nationwide attention, there were no real leads, just eerie coincidences and strange encounters that deepened the mystery. A few weeks after the disappearance, Noreen Gosch received a chilling phone call. A boy's voice whispered, "Help me, Mom," before the line went dead. Police traced the call, but it came from a payphone miles away. Then, a man called claiming he had Johnny and demanded money for his return. The calls stopped as suddenly as they began. Months later, a woman reported seeing a boy resembling Johnny at a truck stop in Nebraska. She said the boy tried to approach her, but was pulled away by two men before he could speak. The boy yelled, "I want to go home." The woman was so disturbed by what she saw that she contacted police. But when investigators arrived, the boy and the men were gone. Years passed. The case grew cold, but Noreen Gosch never stopped searching. She became an advocate for missing children, lobbying for stronger laws and creating foundations to support families in similar situations. Her determination kept Johnny's story alive in newspapers, documentaries, and eventually the internet. Then something happened that reignited the mystery. In 1997, 15 years after Johnny vanished, a man named Paul Bonacci came forward from prison, claiming he had been involved in Johnny's abduction as a teenager. He said he was part of a child trafficking ring that kidnapped boys across the Midwest. According to Bonacci, Johnny was taken, brainwashed, and forced into illegal activities. He even described physical details of Johnny's birthmarks and scars that had never been made public. The FBI investigated Bonacci's claims, but they couldn't find enough evidence to confirm them. Some dismissed his story as fabricated, while others, especially Johnny's mother, believed he was telling the truth. Noreen even met Bonacci in person and said she felt he truly knew her son. And then came one of the strangest twists of all. In 1999, Noreen claimed that one night, someone knocked on her door at 2:30 in the morning. When she opened it, she said she saw a young man standing there. He was about 27 years old. He looked at her and said, "Mom, it's me, Johnny." She claimed they talked for over an hour. He told her he had been living under a different identity for years, that he had escaped from the people who took him, but that he was afraid for his life. Before leaving, he told her not to tell anyone where he was or he'd be killed. Noreen said she respected his wishes, but she never saw him again. Authorities could never verify that encounter. Neighbors heard nothing, and no fingerprints or security footage were ever found. To this day, Noreen stands by her story. She believes Johnny survived, at least for a while, and that he may still be alive somewhere under a new name. Over the years, the story of Johnny Gosch became one of America's most haunting mysteries. It was the first of 3 similar disappearances in the Des Moines area, followed by Eugene Martin in 1984 and Mark Allen in 1986. None of the boys were ever found, and some believe they were all connected. In 2006, a new clue emerged. Noreen received an envelope containing several disturbing photographs. They showed young boys bound and gagged, lying on beds. One of them looked like Johnny. The photos were turned over to authorities, but the origins were never confirmed. Some investigators said they were from an old police case in Florida, unrelated to Johnny. Others thought it was proof that the story wasn't over. The case remains open. No one has ever been charged. Some think Johnny truly escaped and built a new life, hiding from those who once controlled him. Others believe he was killed years ago, his body buried somewhere far from home. Today, more than 4 decades later, the disappearance of Johnny Gosch is still one of the most baffling unsolved mysteries in American history. His story has inspired documentaries, conspiracy theories, and countless Reddit threads debating what really happened that morning. Was Johnny taken by a trafficking ring, as Bonacci claimed? Did he really return home years later under a secret identity? Or did his mother, desperate for closure, hold on to a hope that wasn't real? No one knows. All that's certain is that a 12-year-old boy went out to deliver newspapers one morning and vanished into the quiet streets of Iowa, leaving behind a mystery that refuses to fade. What do you think happened to Johnny Gosch? Did he truly come back home, or is his story still waiting to be uncovered?